Hello, I am Goose. By now, you should know what Friday Night Funkin' is. If you don't, turn off the video and go play it. I'll have some links for where you can play it in the description. Anyways, I've seen a lot of these videos come out already of people saying how they feel about the soundtrack and specific songs being the best and whatnot, but, I kind of have different opinions compared to other people, so I figured putting my 2 cents in would be worth it for some people. I want to get this out of the way though. If you're looking for super in-depth analysis of each and every song, you may be a little bit disappointed. A lot of my opinions on the soundtrack are very cut and dry, so there really isn't much to explain in terms of how I feel. To get started, I'm gonna begin at the very bottom and work my way up. There's only one song in the bottom tier, and that's the tutorial song. I understand it's meant to be a simple and slow song to get you into the groove of the game, but come on, it's DDR for your fingers. These controls are about as simple as you can get with rhythm games, so I don't understand why it's this easy. It's also just, way too slow. It's a pain to get through, and it only starts getting decent towards the end. Next up on the list is MILF. This is probably the most intense song on the soundtrack, but I think it's a little bit too much for me. Not much else to say about it because, holy moly, this song is crazy. If this song was a little bit more mellow in the drum beat, and maybe a little bit slower, I'd probably like it more. But what we got is okay. Next up on the list is Thorns, which kind of gets a tough break, honestly. It's a fine song on its own, but it's just overshadowed by pretty much the rest of the soundtrack, which is kind of a shame. Next up on the list are the two Game Over themes, both the standard and the chiptune versions. These songs do their jobs, and they're about the same, but I like the standard version more. After those two, we have High, which I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. On one hand, the beginning half is kind of a droning bore, and I tend to dread listening to it. On the other hand, the second half of the song is pretty good, but it can be tough trying to not skip the first part. So, it's pretty average. And by looking now, if I say this track is only average and it's this low on the tier list, that only proves that most of these songs are really good. Up next we have Eggnog, which is a pretty decent song, but it just feels kind of repetitive. And that's strange considering the best part of the song is really repetitive. I don't know, I can't explain it. Next, we have the main menu theme, Gettin' Freaky. This track is a classic. Anyone that has played this game even a little bit will probably recognize this theme. It's a decent song, but much like Thorns, it's overshadowed by the pizzazz of the other songs in the soundtrack. It does its job. Next up is Monster. This song is so slow, and the boyfriend kind of makes some weird sounds at some points, but it's fine. It was the first attempt at having some English in the song, so of course it might be a little bit awkwardly paced. Oh, I forgot about the tutorial, oops. In any case, Bassett Films did a good job singing on this one, and the other Monster song. More on that later. Breakfast is good. I didn't know it existed until a few days ago, so I'm glad it's in the game. Quite possibly the perfect pause music. Satin Panties is fine. I don't really know much proper music vocabulary, so I can't really say much other than it sounds good. Definitely a good introduction to that week. After Satin Panties is Winter Horrorland. It's a huge improvement from the first Monster song, despite being only 2 spaces above it on the tier list. It's a great mix of spooky lyrics and a cheery backing track. I like this one quite a bit. After this we have a classic, Dad Battle. This song is similar to the over-intense MILF and Thorns tracks, but this one's toned down a perfect amount. This song really doesn't need any explanation as to why it's good, because it sounds good. And this is the start of the songs that don't really need too much explanation as to why they're up so high. Philly. Week 3 really just knocked it out of the park. All 3 of the songs are really good, but I remember hating them at first, because the first day Week 3 was out, the voices weren't synchronized to the music, and I thought that it was on purpose. But they're fixed now, and the songs are good. Next up, we have South. South wasn't exactly a genre of song I usually like, but these two goobers are really entertaining to watch go bonkers while they sing. Also, the song is bumpin'. Next, we have Blammed. If Blammed was just the intro to the song, it would still be this high on the list. However, it also comes with the rest of the song. In the next tier, we have Spooky starting us off. It's goofy, it's fast, and it's quite a challenge. Not much to say about this song because it's just plain good. Senpai. This song sounds like a DS game, which is the whole point. Seeing the distance between this week 6 song and the last week 6 song that was ranked is quite strange. Nonetheless, it's a good song, but it ends up dragging on towards the end part. Bapibo. It's almost as, if not more recognizable than the main menu song. This feels like it would have a much better tutorial song than the actual tutorial section, but it's also a good start to the first level, so it's whatever. Up next we have Coca. I still get this song stuck in my head some days. It's such a bop. It's not too slow, but it's just the right speed to bob your head to while you play. I love it. Now we have the big three. Fresh. This is the song of Friday Night Funkin'. It's the song on the trailer that represents the game as a whole. And because it's representing so much, it better sound good. So, does it? Yes. Pico. This song is crazy. It's long, but doesn't overstay its welcome. It's tough, but not frustrating. And above all, Pico's voice is good. And for my number one pick, which is probably obvious by now, we have Roses. This song sucks.